Poking and prodding. The lady comes again. She brings an animal doctor with an awful smell and a dangerous looking bag. He spends an hour with Ruby, poking and prodding. He looks at her feet, her eyes, her trunk. When he's done with Ruby, he enters my cage. I wish I could hide under knot tag like Bob. Instead, I do a nice loud chest beat, and after a moment, the doctor retreats. We're going to need to put this one under, he says. I'm not quite sure what he means, but I strut around my cage feeling victorious, anyways. No painting. No one asked me to paint today. No one asks Ruby to perform. There are no shows, no visitors, unless you count the protesters. Max stays in his office all day. I wake up from a long morning nap. Bob is on my belly, but he isn't asleep. He's watching the ring where four men are placing a large metal box. It's me sized. What's that? I ask, still blurry from sleep. Bob nuzzles my chin. I believe that box is for you, my friend. I'm not sure what he means. Me? They brought in a bunch of boxes while you were sleeping. It looks to me like they're taking the whole lot of you, he says, casually licking a paw. Even Thelma. Taking, I repeat. Taking us where? Well, some to the zoo, probably, others to an animal shelter where humans will try to find them homes. Bob shakes himself. So I guess all good things must come to an end, huh? His voice is bright, but his eyes are far away and sad. So Bob is pretending like it doesn't bother him that all the animals are going away, but he's probably worried. He's probably sad that his friends are leaving. I'm going to miss your stomach, big guy. Bob shuts his eyes, makes an odd noise in his throat. But what about you? I ask. Can't tell if Bob's just pretending to sleep, but he doesn't answer. I gaze at the huge shadowy box, and suddenly I understand how Ruby feels. I don't want to go into that box. Last time I was in that box, my sister died. Goodbye. When George and Julia come that night, George doesn't get a mop or his broom. He gathers up his tools and belongings while Julia runs to my cage. This is my last night, Ivan, she says, and she presses her palm to the glass. Mac fired my dad. Tears slip down her cheeks. But the zoo lady says that maybe they'll have an opening there in a while, cleaning cages and stuff. I walk to the glass that separates us. I put my finger to where Julia's is, palm to palm, finger to finger. My hand is bigger, but they're not so very different. I'm going to miss you, Julia says. And Ruby and Bob. But this is a good thing. Really, it is. You deserve a different life. I stare into her dark eyes, and I wish I had words for her. Sniffling, she goes to Ruby's cage. Have a good life, Ruby, she says. Ruby makes a little rumbling sound. She puts her trunk between the bars and touches Julia's shoulder. Where is Bob anyways? Julia asks. She looks around under tables in my cage by the trash can. Dad, she calls. Have you seen Bob? Bob? Nope, George says. Julia's brow wrinkles. What's going to happen to him, Dad? What if Mac shuts down the whole mall? He says he's going to try to keep it open without the animals, George says. He stuffs his hand in his pockets. I'm worried about Bob, too. He's a survivor. You know what, Dad? Julia gets a gleam in her eye. Bob could live with us. Mom loves dogs, and he could keep her company. And Jules, I'm not even sure I have a job yet. I may not even be able to feed you, let alone some mud. My dog walking money. Sorry, Jules. Jules nods. I understand. She starts to leave and then runs back to my cage. I almost forgot. This is for you, Ivan. She slips a piece of paper into my cage. It's a drawing of Ruby and me. We're eating yogurt raisins. Ruby is playing with another baby elephant, and I'm holding hands with a lovely gorilla. She has red lips and a flower in her hair. I look, as I always do in Julia's picture, like an elegant fellow. But something is different about this drawing. In this picture, I am smiling. Click. The door to my cage is propped open. I can't stop staring at it. My door. Open. The giant box has been moved, and it's open too. The humans have pushed it against my doorway. If I walk through the door, I enter their box. The zoo lady, whose name is Maya, is here again. Click. Yogurt raisin. Click. Tiny marshmallow. Click. Ripe papaya. Click. Apple slice. Hour after hour, click after click. I look over at Ruby. She waits to see what I will do. I touch the box. I sniff the dark interior where the ripe mango awaits. Click, click, click. I have to do it. Ruby is watching me from behind the bars of her cage, and this box is the way out. I step inside. So even though he's scared, he knows he has to set a good example for Ruby. An idea. After I leave the box, I step into my cage. I get an idea, a good one. I tell Bob he can sneak into my box and live with me at the zoo. Have you forgotten? I'm a wild beast, Ivan, he says, sniffing the floor for crumbs. I am untamed and undaunted. Bob samples a piece of celery and spits it out. Besides, they'd notice. Humans are dumb, but they're not that dumb. Respect. Ivan, Ruby says, do you think the other elephants will like me? I think they'll love you, Ruby. You'll be part of their family. Do you think the other gorillas will like you? Ruby asks. I'm a silverback, Ruby, a leader. I pull my shoulders and hold my head up high. They don't have to like me, they have to respect me. Even as I tell her this, I wonder if I can ever command their respect. I haven't had much practice being a real gorilla, much less a silverback. Do you think the other elephants will know any jokes? If they don't, I tell her, you can teach them. Ruby flaps her ears. She flicks her tail. You know what, Ivan? What? I ask. I think I'm going to go in the box tomorrow. I gaze at her fondly. I think that's a good idea. And I think Stella would have agreed. Do you think the other elephants will know how to play tag? I love tag. Me too, I say. And I think of my nimble sister racing through the brush, always just out of my reach. And we'll stop here today, but you guys will continue to read in your small groups. Good luck today.